I'm Lauren Black from WTVC News Channel 9, reporting on transgender issues and third genders. So far, more than 25,000 Americans have undergone sex reassignment surgery, and psychologists say that at least 2% of children have gender identity disorder. That makes 25,000 American and 2% of children who are discriminated against every day. American discomfort around transgender individuals comes partially from the fact that they do not seem entirely male or female. In countries with third genders, people embrace the individual who identify themselves as neither male or female, whereas American transgender individuals are often unaccepted.
Hijras and Bardashas are two types of third genders from different cultures.
Hijras are from India, where there are between 500,000 and 1 million of them. Bardashas are found in Native American culture. Both of these genders have always been a part of the cultures they are from.
Harleen Singh is a professor at Brandeis who is originally from India. So, Professor Singh, what exactly is a Hijra?
A Hijra in India is someone who does not fall into the usual categories of male or female, and that Hijra can cover a whole range of possibilities, eunuchs, transvestites, hermaphrodites, so on and so forth.
How do Hijras view themselves, and how do others view Hijras?
Hijras in India have a traditional role to play in society, where they often come at weddings to ward off the evil eye. Hijras view themselves as blessed, as someone who have a special goddess looking over them, and view themselves as performing a special function for society.
Though Hijras have a traditional role, how do you think they fit into society?
Even though there is a space for them, they are still marginalized. However, recently there has been a case where a Hijra has actually stood for election and won the election and has become a member of the Indian Parliament.
So, how are Hijras connected to religion?
Well, in Hinduism, Hijras are considered to have been blessed by the goddess Ketaki. In fact, in the Hindu pantheon of gods, not all gods are simply male or female. There are gods who defy the two genders.
Is there a lot of discrimination against Hijras?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense they're not part of the mainstream, and they're often ostracized as being Hijras. But there isn't discrimination to the extent that they're not shunned in Indian society. They are considered an integral part of Hindu culture, of Hindu life, where they perform certain functions that the male and female cannot perform.
Hijras, as shown in this photo, have always been an accepted part of India and Pakistan.
In fact, on December 24th, 2009 in Pakistan, where there are an estimated 300,000 Hijras, Hijra became an officially recognized gender by the government. However, we Western countries have not always let them be. When the British colonized India, they were shocked and disgusted by the existence of Hijras. During the 18th and 19th centuries, the British tried hard to end what they called, quote, the abominable practices of these wretches.
The other third gender category I mentioned, Bardash, is shown in this photo and
can be found in over 150 Native American tribes. Bardashas were often honored members in their communities. For instance, Rough Garden says, among the Navajo, the survival of humanity was believed to be dependent on the inventiveness of two-spirited deities. Two-spirited being another word for Bardash. Professor Lamb is an anthropologist at Brandeis University who studies gender. So, Professor Lamb, what exactly is a Bardash?
A Bardash is either a biological male who goes through initiation at puberty to take on the social roles of a female, or sometimes a biological female who takes on the social roles of a male.
How does spirituality relate to Bardashas?
Bardashas are sometimes called two-spirited ones. They are believed to embody the spiritual natures of both male and female. And when young, Bardash often have visions or dreams that reveal to them their two-spirited nature.
What are their relationships like?
Bardash often marry someone who is biologically the same sex, but socially a different gender. So a biologically male Bardash might marry a man, and neither would be considered homosexual. And if they wanted children, they would often adopt.
How are Bardashas treated in their communities?
Bardashas were highly respected members of their communities. There was no stigma attached to the role, and in fact, often Bardashas were given extra respect because of their two-spirited natures.
When the first European settlers came to the Americas and discovered the existence of Bardashas, they were horrified. The Board of Indian Affairs often forced biologically male Bardashas to dress and act like men. Some would say that I am incorrect, that the people of these third genders are fully accepted. I cannot say, in fact, that there is no discrimination at all against third-gendered people, but that may not be the fault of the people from the countries where these genders originated. There's been much negative Western influence toward third genders, as when the British tried to eliminate the existence of hedras and the US government forced Bradashes to act like their biological gender. Also, countries with third genders are far ahead of the US in terms of stopping discrimination. On December 24, 2009, the Pakistani government officially recognized hijra as a gender. Cultures with third genders accept third gender people into their communities much more readily than Americans accept transgendered people.
Hijra and Bardash are not the only third genders in existence. There are the Mahu, the Fa'afafine, the Fakaleti, and the Panapananian among the islands of Polynesia, and the Fa'afafine have their own yearly major boxing competition. There are the Waria and Bisu of Indonesia, the Katoys of Thailand, who have their own yearly beauty pageant. Keep in mind that the people in these pictures are biologically male. The Zainath of Oman, who are actually privileged because they have both men's and women's rights, the Saxena of South Africa, and the Travestis of Brazil.
People of the third gender have a good place in their cultures. Some are honored, as the Navajo Bardashes. Some have extra rights, as the Zainath in Oman. Some have big events devoted to them, such as the Miss Tiffany's Universe pageant for the Katoys and the boxing competitions for the Fa'afafines. As Toman says, these third-sex people can enjoy an acknowledged and legitimate position in the societies of which they are part.